Hello, everyone. Tom Mattix on a Monday morning. It's the 12th of May, and I want to report out to you on what has occurred in the housing market, specifically for the month of April, but in general, kind of like what's happened in the last couple of months here, because we've had some significant changes to the market. First, the statistics. I'll bore you with numbers for a moment, just for a moment. Median price for the month of April, detached. Didn't move. We're still at $470,000. But the good news is that number is up 8.1% from April a year ago. Last year, April was $435,000. We are now at $470,000. For condos, a more significant change. We're up 17.7% from last March. We are now at $340,000 median as opposed to $309,000 one year ago. Okay, so what's the big news? The big news is this, is that back the latter part of last year, in the very early part of this year, the number of closed sales were way down from where they were in comparison one year ago. For detached homes, we are off closed sales over right around 25%. Okay? But we recognize that back in the December and January timeframe, that gap was slowly closing. Slowly closing. Number of closed sales. Why? Because the inventory was also way off. But it too was slowly closing. Why was it closing? It was closing for one very good reason, is that homeowners recognized that the equity that they lost in their homes during the recession was slowly coming back. Okay? So as the equity was slowly building and slowly coming back to where it was, we found that the inventory was slowly increasing. Inventory slowly increasing resulted in the number of closed sales slowly increasing. Wasn't there yet. And the median, for the most part, around San Diego County, we're not still quite there yet as to where we were back in November of 2005 when this market peaked. But we're slowly getting there. To the point where in April, we found that the number of closed sales and the inventory, both of those levels, were greater than they were one year ago. That's really good news. Okay? That's really good news. So we're finding that buyers now have more properties to choose from, and we're closing more homes, and in turn that's going to feed upon itself. That synergistic effect, that the median price up, inventory up, closed sales up, that's going to feed on itself, we hope. And while we don't want the median price to go out of control like it did before the recession started, we do think that the median price now is going to be hopefully increasing at a steady and sustainable pace. One last item that you ought to be thinking about if you're in the market to either purchase or refinance your homes is that back last June we saw a quick ramp up in the interest rates, and the reason for that ramp up, as I've been preaching for several months, was because the Federal Reserve began to decrease the amount of funds that they were spending each month to purchase mortgage-backed securities and other treasuries. The Federal Reserve decided that because the economy was starting to grow, that they could begin to taper off of that. They were at $85 billion. Today they're at $45 billion. But what that meant is that interest rates suddenly spiked during the June and July and August timeframe last year. Well, good news is that while we're not down to where we were 1 or 2 years ago, we are less than where we were last summer. So that's good news as well. So if you're a buyer, be thinking about taking advantage of the rates where they are, because as the Fed continues to taper way off and to eventually cease buying mortgage-backed securities and other treasuries, interest rates are bound to go up. So anyway, enough of my chit-chat for now. I'll be back in touch with you, same time, same channel, a month from now, and we'll report back on what happened in the month of May, the month that we're currently in. You have a good month, and if you have any questions, please call me.